And welcome to Capital Talk, a program we hope will have an impact on the future of Kenya. And now, more than ever, I'm Jeff Koinange. Now, those of you who watched Yvonne Chaka Chaka last night, you're probably wondering, how can we top that? Well, it's easy, because we have our homegrown firsts. Because I told you the theme for the week is firsts. And the young lady on the bench today just literally turned 30 a week ago. And what a superstar she is in her own right. Movie director. When she went to UCLA Film School, she knew this is what she was destined to do. And her first film proved just that. Critically acclaimed From a Whisper, won 5 Africa Academy of Music Awards. And then a couple of months ago in Los Angeles, another film award, won 2 at another festival. Unbelievable. She's done so well with that movie. But she didn't stop there. Even though it was her first, she knew the pressure was on. A second movie, a short film, sci-fi called Pumzi. Again, critically acclaimed. Premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. Those of you who know that, it's a very famous festival. And then at Cannes, not the main one, but a parallel festival at Cannes, won Best Short Film. She's on a roll. She's hot. She's young. She's smart. And she doesn't go around telling everybody that her grandfather is a famous, powerful Kenyan. She does things her own way and lets her movies do the talking. She's working on other projects. We want to talk about them. She's on the bench as yet another first. She is Wanuri Kahiu.
Hi, Jeff.
Wanuri, good to see you.
And you?
Looking good?
Thank you.
Looking really good.
I heard the theme was yellow this week.
You know, I should get into this yellow thing. You know, tomorrow I should wear a yellow shirt.
I know, you must.
How are you?
I'm very
Congratulations
well.
on all your awards and accolades. You've really, really done well.
Thank you.
How does it feel? I mean, the first one, From a Whisper, a lot of people, critics would obviously say, you know what, fluke. One time it's won a bunch of awards, fluke. There's no way she can top that. Pumzi has topped that. So far.
So far, yeah, we've been really privileged and really blessed to have Pumzi do so well. It's won 1 award so far at the Cannes Independent Film Festival, but it's traveled a lot and gotten a lot of great feedback. And myself and the production company that I worked with, Inspired Minority Pictures, are really proud of it. It's a little film that just kind of beats all odds.
For those of us or those of our viewers who don't know what Pumzi is, give us a little synopsis.
Okay. So Pumzi is a science fiction film. It's about Africa in the future, based 35 years after the water war. And everybody lives inside of a building because the outside is dead. And the main character, Asha, is a curator at a natural virtual museum because there is no more nature. You only have a virtual experience of nature.
There's no more green like this.
There's no more green. There's nothing you can hold. It's just holograms. So what she does is that when she gets a little seed and she plants it and it starts to grow, she applies for an exit visa to go outside, but it's denied. So she has to escape the inside world to go outside to be able to plant the seed. And
you wrote the script?
I did. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know. But it was a reaction to the fact that I am a strong environmental activist first. So it came as a response to the fact that we buy water. I actually don't like the fact that we buy water. I think that it's ridiculous that we buy natural resources that are given freely and abundantly by God.
Yeah.
So the fact that we buy bottled water and usually it takes more water to manufacture the bottle than the water contained in the bottle is actually very disturbing to me.
Makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Yeah.
So really that's where the first film came from. I mean, the first genesis of the film came from. It came as a hit out to that, and as a response to the fact that we actually don't have much access to nature in this day and age, especially in Nairobi and the way that Nairobi is growing. We're cutting down more trees. We're getting rid of the plants that really are our life source in order to put concrete structures up, and you can see the devastation it's causing because when you go and rent an apartment these days, one of the first questions you ask is there water in the apartment? I mean, really?
Yeah.
That's where we are now.
And the second thing, is there a garden?
Is there? No, that's not what you ask. Security and water. That's it. So what really was I was responding to that more than anything else.
So it premieres at Cannes. Let's go to Cannes. Before, no, it premiered at Sundance, but you took it to Cannes.
Yes.
What was the response like?
It was great. I actually had people who approached me, and I don't know how they knew me, and they said, "Are you the person who made that science fiction film? That's so great. And we didn't expect it out of Africa." And I keep getting that comment. It's like there seems to be a limitation to what Africans can produce or create. Like, oh, just stick with what you know, the traditional. And if you go above that, then you're hitting out in realms that people don't understand. They don't understand that you can have science fiction in Africa. But I'm just a storyteller, Jeff. I've always been a storyteller, and in the lineage of storytelling, even in the past, the whole role of storytellers was to be able to, say, predict the future or be keepers of the past.
Yes.
So in that sense, there is no limit to what the future holds or the past has happened in the past. Yes. And as storytellers, we've always used fantasy, stories about why the hyena did this or why. Yeah. Those are fantasy and science fiction to a certain extent. So science fiction and fantasy are not removed from the kind of films that we can make or the kind of stories that we already tell.
So you're changing people's perceptions not only about Africa, but Africans telling stories.
Of course, and I think that anybody who's making films about modern Africa is. And there's quite a number of filmmakers who are making films that don't have to do with AIDS and destruction and the woe of Africa and the tragedy of Africa. And the World Cup being in Africa is great because people are beginning to say, there's more to Africa than meets the eye. Yeah. Yes, there is.
Yeah. And someone is going to make a movie about the World Cup.
I'm sure
I can
they
see
are.
it.
Bafana. Yeah. But really they should be making it about Ghana because I love that team.
I hope they make it.
They will make it.
You reckon?
They have to.
At least to the semis.
At least, I know.
We can say we got to the semis.
I know. But it's ridiculous what the World Cup has done because it's made us so absolute. We're supporting Africa, and it doesn't even become Ghana anymore. We become complete Pan-Africanists in that sense.
Yeah. But it's great, isn't it? Yes. Because the founding fathers of this continent, the Nkrumahs, Kenyattas, all those, wherever they are now, they can see that team.
Cheering. They're definitely cheering
That's
for that
us.
team. That's us, yeah. Wow. We did it.
Would you want to do a movie about the World Cup? Would you have wanted?
I would love to do a movie about the Ghanaians. I would absolutely love to do a movie about the Ghanaian team because I think that it's time that story was told. It's time we actually met who they are and how they came up because that's such an interesting story. Yeah. How did they get to where they are? How did they become such a strong team? What did they have to overcome? That's great. It would be amazing.
That's passion.
It's passion.
Yeah, it's a good storyline.
It's a great storyline.
Another great storyline, Wanuri, is a film, I guess you and I have talked about this before, and I'm sure a lot of people would love to do this film. It's about the Mau Mau.
I am definitely still working that film, but I realize that because of where I am in my career, and I really do need to grow myself as a filmmaker to be able to handle that film, but also to be able to access the kind of financing that I need to be able to make that film.
Because that's a big budget movie.
It's a big budget movie. I really do want to make it so that it is something that everybody stands back and is proud of.
And would you do it before someone from Hollywood does, please?
Whether or not they make it from Hollywood, I think we have a particular obligation as storytellers from this continent to be able to tell our own stories in our own voices. So whether or not somebody from Hollywood comes to tell that story, let them. It will never be my story. So I'm not worried about that. And it doesn't seem like those are the stories that they're interested in telling at the moment. They're more interested in telling the stories about how they save Africa or they save the Africans or black people in general. And that's not the kind of story that I'm telling.
And it's not black diamonds, we need to move away from all that.
We do need to move away from like I'm saying, it's from blood diamonds and the devastation and what's happening because we are positive, energetic, brilliant, funny, witty people.
Yeah.
In every sense and in every way and cross-generational.
And you're proving it.
Not only me, but also just hanging out with the people that I've met. Say the Mau Mau when I was doing my research. They're amazingly funny. I spent my time in hysterics and in such joy being around them, and they're literally my grandparents' age.
Speaking of your grandparents,
yes,
your grandfather wrote an amazing book.
I heard.
Oh, amazing book, which you can weave into your Mau Mau movie at some point.
I think that it's important to be able to take it from somewhere that's close as well. So being able to use stories from your own family and being able to interweave the stories from your own family with with other stories that you've heard, with other interviews that they've done, makes it a truly authentic film.
Yeah.
And because it's such a huge and fundamental and noteworthy film to be made, it's important for it to be as authentic as possible.
And it's also important because we owe it to them. They're dying off, Wanuri.
Of course.
They're dying off 50 years later. You know, they're going on.
Yes.
We owe it to them.
Completely, we do completely owe it to them. And we are the generation that brings them back. We are the generation that should speak about them. We are, and in Kikuyu, we are them because we have been reborn into that Rika. We've been reborn into that generation. So I have the Mau Mau spirit in the same way that the people in the lineage of Dedan Kimathi had that Mau Mau spirit, because I am named for their namesakes. I am named for their age mates.
There's a line from the movie Amistad which says exactly that. It says, we are the reason they existed.
We are, and we are the in a very, very fundamental way, we have been reborn. So the Mau Mau spirit, for me, I feel has been reborn. And I think the difference is that we don't realize it yet. And that's the only difference, is that we don't realize that we have, that who we are, and our challenges, and the way we need to fight in this day. Because there's ways that we fight in this day that are not the Mau Mau way. We don't necessarily have to pick up guns, but we say it in our words, we say it in our actions, and we say it in the films or in the art or in the work that we're trying to produce.
Yeah. Speaking of picking up guns, Wanuri, the post-election violence, is that a movie that would sell? Because, you know, sexy films sell, and blood, you know, if it bleeds, it will sell. Would that sell?
Unfortunately, it probably would, especially if it was told yes, it would. Long story short,
would you do it?
It would do it. No, I wouldn't do it. I think it was such a I'm still not over what happened, and it was such a devastating. And I've never in my life felt so helpless as a citizen of this country. And I try and say positive things only about Kenya, but that period in our time has been one of the most devastating things that has happened to our country, because we don't know how to get over it. We don't know how to speak about it. We don't know how for it not to happen again. And we are continuously, and there are very few things that make me feel helpless. The post-election violence is one, and what is currently happening with Lake Turkana is another thing. Those are the two things in today that I feel, who are we? How can Lake Turkana slowly be killed off as we sit now? It's happening. And we don't know about it. Most of the people in this country don't know that Lake Turkana is being killed, and literally being killed.
And the others don't care.
And the others don't care. Oh, the others are part of the creation of that devastation. Yes. And it's a natural resource. It is one of the few desert lakes in Africa. But we'd much rather dam the source so that we can sell electricity back to us, even though there's alternate ways of creating electricity.
And then we keep wondering, why is it that we are where we are?
It's a shameful.
We get what we deserve.
It's shameful.
I want to talk more about that, Wanuri, because I see the passion in you. It's coming out. Passion is coming out. And also, the movie you made about Wangari Maathai.
Yes.
That was fantastic. It's still playing on Mnet?
It does play on Mnet as part of the Great African series, yes.
Fantastic. I want to talk about that. And also, what else is Wanuri doing? First, let's take a break. Wow. I told you, we've got one of our own. A first, no doubt, first among equals. Wanuri Kahiu, barely 30 years old. I tell you, she's up there and out there, waving Kenya's flag high. This is what we mean when we talk about the future of Kenya. Wanuri Kahiu, the granddaughter of that famous man, who we'll probably reveal later on. Don't even think of going away, because the bench is back in a moment. And welcome back to Capital Talk. What a guest we have on the bench, a live wire, no doubt. Wanuri Kahiu. I tell you, she is going places. She's out there selling her movies, making her movies, and she wants to make more about us, her people, the country, the future. I tell you, this young lady, well on her way. First among equals, Wanuri Kahiu. The Lake Turkana thing, that really bothers you, doesn't it?
Lake Turkana bothers me absolutely no end.
And those of our viewers who don't know what it's about, there's a dam that's been built on the Ethiopian side.
On the Ethiopian side, that is damming the source of Lake Turkana so that Ethiopia can sell electricity back into Kenya. But the thing is, which is really disturbing, is right at the base of Lake Turkana, a windmill farm has already been created to generate enough electricity so that we don't need the dam. So we're literally killing a resource that has been there, that the people of Turkana depend on, that the nature depends on, that the migration of birds depends on. But we have absolute, that we read in GHC. Who in GHC did not read about Lake Turkana?
Yeah.
Who didn't read about it? But we're so willing to say, oh, let it die, or not even think about it, or not even know about it, because it doesn't have to do with us Nairobians, because it has to do with them, the Turkanans. Them, the Turkanans, are us. We are the same people, and that is our same land that we're killing off slowly by slowly. So something has to be done about that.
Unbelievable. Make some noise, Wanuri.
I am trying. I am definitely trying.
But it takes more than just that. People have to be aware. People have to join this bandwagon.
Exactly.
And not be in denial.
Exactly. That has to absolutely happen. And it's happening one conversation at a time. If more people start talking about what's happening in our environment, if more people start taking up the causes that are necessary to take up, like Lake Turkana, like natural resources, then I think we are creating a better world for ourselves and for our generations to come.
The last documentary I saw about this Lake Turkana project is, it's almost a done deal. Can it still be saved?
I think it can, because what it takes is a lot more attention. Is a lot more recognition about what's happening, is a lot more education about what's happening and what we're actually doing. The people around Lake Turkana are losing their life source. They're largely a fishing, and they are largely pastoral. So they have they herd their sheep, but they won't have that. So we're literally increasing unemployment and insecurity, because they will arm themselves to be able to figure out ways of feeding their families. So cattle rustling will become an option.
And of course, desertification.
And desertification, completely. That's an appalling place to be. So yes, something can be done. If more people speak out, if internationally more people are saying, actually that thing is, because what would it be like if we went to foreign and said, oh, this lake here that everybody knows of in your country, I think we want to stop it and build a dam. That's ridiculous. Nobody would allow that to happen. So I don't understand why we allow it to happen in our own country.
Yeah. They don't do that to Lake Malawi.
They don't do it to...
Lake Tanganyika.
No, they don't. They don't do it. No. But they might. Because if Lake Turkana can go, then other African assets can go as easily.
Yeah. Your movie about Professor Wangari Maathai.
Yes. Oh my gosh. She's an amazing woman.
Isn't she?
I love her. And every time I meet her, I'm so inspired and so energized. Yeah. And she's my hero. She's always been my hero. But to be able to be given an opportunity to work with your hero, there is nothing more. There's absolutely nothing more.
And it's still playing on Mnet.
Yes, it's called For Our Land. And it's really about Wangari Maathai's story, about how she became who she is, and what she did, and how she had to overcome her obstacles in her personal life, in her business life, just to be able to do what she feels is right.
And she never gave up?
And she never gave up. And one of the things that she says is so important is that people are unwilling to fight for a cause that they won't see the benefits for. So because our children are the ones who are going, or our grandchildren will see the benefits of the work that she's done, people do not think that far. Same thing with Lake Turkana. We don't think that far because it's so removed from us. So we have to figure out a way to bring it back. We have to figure out a way to make it sexy, because once it's packaged right, then it's okay. Yeah. Once Lake Turkana becomes a interesting something, then people will be like, oh, okay, then it's a national resource. It's something that we should do. It is a national resource. It should be saved.
What a shame.
It is a shame.
But it's Kenyans for you. Sometimes we just lose sight of our vision.
We lose sight because we're just trying to deal with the basics. We're just trying to deal with having our human rights. The right to security, the right to vote.
Yeah. The right to say no.
To eat, exactly.
Yeah.
The right to education. We're just dealing with our human rights. And so often, I think political campaigns get swept up in offering people what is rightfully theirs. So we offer people education, and that's a big thing. We offer people security, and that's a big thing. That is our God-given right. Yeah. It is our God-given human right. and therefore we shouldn't be fighting for that. But because we're grappling and we're fighting for human rights, we don't see the issues that are affecting us. And the issues are the environment, because there will be nothing left to mother us after the environment is gone. And literally that's what Pumzi is about.
And whether we pass the referendum or not, life will go on.
Life will go on, and Lake Turkana will still be damned if we don't do anything about it, whether we vote yes or no. But it's important for people to understand what's happening in their constitution and what's happening in the world around us, so we can make active, involved, informed decisions.
The debate about the Mao, that was great for a while. I mean, there was a lot of pressure.
Exactly.
It became sexy all of a sudden.
It became sexy all of a sudden. Now we just need to make Lake Turkana sexy. And then people will be talking about it, and MPs will be visiting, and because MPs are celebrities, then it will bring the press.
That's how it works.
That's how it works.
Yeah,
It's
simple as that.
It's really that basic, unfortunately.
You're so right. You're so right. What else are you working on?
Well, I'm working on a script at the moment that is, it's about a family. It's a small family piece, and it's about the eldest daughter of the family who becomes involved in the drug trade, and how she causes the devastation of her own family, really, to a large extent.
Is it a short film? Is it?
No, it's a feature film.
Full
So
length,
yeah,
yeah.
so I'm writing it at the moment and seeing whether or not I can find the funding for it.
How long does it take to write a script like that, Wanuri?
It takes a while, especially with something this involving, because it's very emotionally devastating. So being able to speak to people who've survived addiction, being able to talk to others who are health workers and things like that is quite hard. And it takes a lot of energy and emotional energy more than anything else to be able to tell the story in a way that is authentic, in a way that it means something, and in a way that people will want to watch. Because if I say I'm making a film about drugs, people are like, I don't think I can watch that. But if you say I'm making a film about a family, which it is essentially about, you're more likely to have people respond.
And at the end of it, will there be a message? Will there be hope at the end of it, or will it be a really depressing movie?
Well, I don't know. It depends on how the audience's lives are affected. And that's really the end goal. The end goal is to be able to start a dialogue about what's happening in this day and age, what's happening with our youth, what's happening in our schools, in our homes, and that people are not willing to have a conversation about.
Your first movie was a huge blast. The second one critically acclaimed and winning awards as we speak. Can you still top this? Can you maintain that momentum?
I don't know, because whenever I set out to make a movie, I'm not setting up to top myself. Or actually, I am setting up to work harder and to work better and to work smarter. But as far as awards and things are concerned, I'm not working for awards. I mean, bring them on, but I'm not working for them. That is not what for me measures success.
Yeah.
For me, what measures success is that they are seen, that there is a dialogue, that the audience can walk away with feeling something or knowing something either about themselves or about the environment they live in, and questioning whether there's a way they as individuals can make a change in their own worlds.
Can you get funding for this? Will you be able to?
I'm trying, and funding is such a tricky thing because it really depends on what's hot at the moment. So it, especially when it comes to grants and things, which we shouldn't as filmmakers be dependent on. Unfortunately, we are at the moment.
Yeah.
But that is really tied into whatever the top topic or whatever hot topic is on at the time. So I am trying to make to raise funds for it.
Is it a this year movie, or?
It's definitely this year writing, and then hopefully if the funds become available, I'll be able to shoot it next year.
Is it difficult selling that film once you put it together? Going to Sundance, going to the Cannes. I know it's not easy. Huh? It's not in New York Festival. All of these. It's not easy at all. What's it like for you?
It's not at all easy because it's quite difficult because it's expensive to travel, and most times I don't. Luckily, because the festivals are the ones who invite you, so most times you don't need to pay for that travel. But it is an expense on time because I can't work in that time. So that's lost revenue and things like that. But it's a great opportunity, so I don't kick it at all. And every film I become better at learning how to distribute it myself, because the truth is we don't have distributors who are good at distributing in Africa yet, or maybe I haven't met them and I'm still looking to meet them. And that is the only way that we can be truly Pan-African, is if I can see something that is from Mali on the TVs in Kenya. And if somebody from Cameroon can see a Swahili film in Cameroon, that's the way we can truly have a cultural exchange, because we don't always have the ability to travel.
Yeah.
So let our films, let our art, let our music do the traveling for us. Let it go to places that we cannot access, because art is the only one thing that does not have borders.
That's right. That's right. We're talking about your grandfather earlier on, and his book, From Charcoal to Gold, of course, we're talking about Jenga Karume, is fantastic. And I've seen since his book came out, a lot of people are writing their biographies. Is that great to see?
I think it's really important for anybody to be able to tell their story. Even now, it's important that everybody has a sense of who they are and a sense that their story is worth being told. And we don't always believe that as Kenyans. As many people I've spoken to who say, what should I write about? And I say, write about you first. Because if it's authentic to you, we're not that special that we live in a vacuum that nobody else will understand. I am not that individual. I am not that unique that when I crack a joke, I'm the only person who laughs. Hopefully.
Yeah.
I could just have a bad sense of humor. But hopefully that is the case, so that anything that makes me cry will make at least 100,000 people cry. Because I'm not that original. God gave us the ability to interact. And to be able to interact, we have similarities.
Wow, that's good. That's good. Keep writing.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you're doing.
I am trying.
Don't give up.
I won't.
You have the passion.
Yes, and so do we as people. So we need to save the things that we can, like Lake Turkana.
Well done. Wow. Beautiful, hot, smart, first among equals. Wanuri Kahiu. Well on her way to fame and fortune and glory and all that. But, she says, it's not about that. It's about telling our stories. We can all tell our stories. She is telling our stories and her story. She's doing it quite fine, if you ask me. Pumzi, short film, it's out there. And also From a Whisper, others to come. My goodness, what a week it's turning out to be. Likes of Wanuri Kahiu, up there with the best of the best. Simply cannot find these kinds of guests anywhere else but right here on the bench, on the award-winning station, K24. As always, we are, even in times of Pumzi, all Kenya.
All the time.
Thank you, my dear.
Anytime.
Well done.
Thank you.
Capital Talk is recorded at the Fairview Hotel, the country hotel in town.